are hard to fathom for one of my poor intelligence. I beg the excellent to forgive all faults, such as contradictions and non sequiturs. Through the virtue from this may all living beings gain the ultimate and conventional altruistic intention, and thereby become like the protector Chenrezig, who dwells in neither extreme, not in the world nor in peace. So welcome everyone this morning. Happy to see the children. We got we've got Mike and Brooks and their brood now here. We've got the Rogowicki's tribe, which is good. And we've got our granddaughter, Valentina, this morning. Valentina Stillerman. And daughter Tracy, of course. But thank you all for being here and wonderful. And especially we have Zhirafka here this morning, Dawa Zangmo. Now, she's not a visiting Lama. She's us at this point. This is a wonderful thing. Sometimes you don't see the effect of something. You plant causes all the time and an effect will ripen. Sometimes we don't see that. That's why confidence, faith, sensible faith comes in, not blind faith. But when you actually experience that happening, something ripening that you've aspired for, and that with maybe doubt have been practicing on, it's, of course, completely validating. And the Dharma is like that. One Lama said that the Dharma will never let you down. So here, too, I think something has come together. We have this source of lineage, which is so important. There's so many people that are good people, but are sort of trying to reinvent the wheel and go off on their own. This is something that can be relied on. If you can rely on 2,500 years of an extremely positive history and the people that have been produced. I saw this picture once of His Holiness Dalai Lama. He was at some big talk that he was giving down at the University of Southern Florida, one of those new universities in Florida. And he was walking out of the crowd, and it was like a Benetton ad or something. They had like the diversity of the world, the different people smiling at him, saying hi as he was walking out. And I thought to myself, having been part of the organization of his visit to Buffalo years ago, those people aren't reading the 37 practices, but they are responding to something completely deep, human, really beyond words. What is the system that's produced the Dalai Lama? What is the system? The more any contact you have with Gar Rinpoche, His Holiness Chetson Rinpoche, you start to see what's happening. I mean, it's preserved this lineage. There are many Tibetan lineages that are under tremendous strain. He's been working. I mean, the man worked in McDonald's when he got out. He fled Tibet. He was working at McDonald's in Houston, this high Lama. So at any rate, this is my long-winded explanation, which you all have grown to love and hate. We have with Kempo here this transmission of the scriptures. You can rely on that. 13 years of memorizing all this stuff, debating back and forth, honing his understanding. It's scriptures you can rely on. You can use them as tools. But with Zhirafka, we also have the blessing lineage. I mean, 4 years of retreat under Gar Rinpoche. Gar Rinpoche is pretty soon approaching 90, I think, right? Mm-hmm. The great people who were trained in Tibet are going to be gone. There's one Japanese Zen monk in Los Angeles in the 1930s. He had a sangha of like 10 people or something. And he said, this is the era of holding the lotus to the bare rock until it roots. So Little Rochester here is doing that. There are all sorts of obstacles, cultural and also within each one of us. We're also darn busy, But in the midst of that busyness, there's still true nature. And between Kempo and Zhirafka, that can be realized. So sorry, Zhirafka, putting up with my hot air, but I wanted to say something special. So happy you're here.
Hi, my Dharma family. Always feel here like I'm at home. There is like this vibe, family vibe, which is like really alive. And thanks to people who were pillars of this Dharma Center for many years, like Frank, Gretchen, and other people who are working tirelessly right now. So because all of you, the center exists, and it is so precious, really precious, because like you can feel the life of Dharma here. And so that's why I don't have any doubt that it will these seeds that are cultivated in this center will flourish, in different ways. Like it's not necessarily that everybody goes to retreat, but like when you bring the Dharma in your daily life, that's what's the most important. That's how we spread Dharma, by being in the world as well. And today I would like to talk shortly about things which is most important on a Dharma path, and about which Garchen Rinpoche, my root Lama, is always talking. It's a bodhicitta. So we speak about bodhicitta so much. There are like different scriptures which describe practice of bodhicitta on a relative level. It's all clear, and it's all the means which would help us to realize the essence of bodhicitta in our mind. It's called like enlightened mind or bodhicitta. Why it's called enlightened mind? Because this is something which comes from the essence and something that brings us to essence. Basically, all beings want to be happy, yeah, and this wish to be happiness is just our natural wish. There is nothing wrong about this. We want to be happy because this pleasure of bliss is the quality of natural of nature of our mind. The happiness is the quality of our mind. It is ours, it's like our birthright. It's like it's good to want to be happy. This is something which we can use as a tool to bring ourselves to this essential state of mind, to the enlightenment. So we want to be happy, we want to be loved, and so we use those qualities as instruments, as tools. So as we want to be happy, but the problem is that without proper instructions, without proper knowledge how to be happy, it's actually difficult to get to that essence. And so here we have like ignorance that does not recognize the essence, does not recognize that whatever manifests is inseparable from that essence. And that on basis of this ignorance, the illusory ego arises. And then ego gives rise to negative emotions, and negative emotion give rise to karma, and then karma gives rise to karmic tendencies. That's a very simple pattern. So, and basically when beings want to be happy, so this illusory ego kind of takes over, and we miss that point where this wish to be happy kind of goes straight to the essence, and kind of ego takes it over, and then it's kind of there is illusory perception that its ego wants to be happy. And so ego can be happy only if we're feeding negative emotions. Okay, so and that's a cycle like of ignorance, which is constantly feeding itself, in order to get out of the cycle of suffering. We perform different actions, we have different reactions, but those actions actually create more suffering. And so it is because when we want happiness, out of this state of dualistic perception which feeds ego, it will create more suffering. So that's why we are using a skillful means, which is called practice of bodhicitta. So practice of bodhicitta, it's not only feeling love, because I'm sure like we all beings feel love at some points of their life, but that's conditioned love which based on attachment, or like either we like someone for some reasons, and then based on that we develop the feeling of love, but that's conditioned love, and it has limits. So then what happens when beings whom we love do not fulfill our expectations? We create negative emotions. We create negative reactions. And so then it creates the opposite effect from instead of happiness, like we have, for example, we have feeling of love to our loved ones, to family members. But then when they don't fulfill our expectations, we have negative emotions, and that love turns into not necessarily hatred, but into negative emotions because it's conditioned. But on the path of Dharma, we speak about unconditional love. And that's not only like loving someone because it's a good person, or like because this person or being is suffering. It's it is love which goes beyond this dualistic perception, and it's at the beginning it might be difficult to understand how can we go beyond dualistic perception. So it's if we just want to go beyond dualistic perception, just wish to do it will not bring us there. Just wish to experience nature of mind will not bring us there. It might create opposite effect. We want to have this experience, and then because we want it so much, there is attachment. And so there is like, when we don't get it, we have negative emotion, or like we're discouraged, or we lose our patience. So whatever kind of negative reaction we have, so it's because it is happening on this level of dualistic perception, like whatever we wish, whatever like we want, even if we want to experience the Buddha nature, this on a level of dualistic perception will just create negative reaction. So then we use the skillful means of bodhicitta practice. Yeah, a bodhicitta of aspiration, bodhicitta of action. It is practicing bodhicitta on dualistic level. So we don't have to think about jumping into nature of mind, into Mahamudra. We don't have to have this goal. And this is a strange thing because it is actually our goal. But if we think about this as a goal, it creates opposite effect. So that's why we call skillful means. It brings us to the goal using different method. It brings us to the ultimate feeling of happiness by creating happiness for others. And that's how it works in Dharma. That's what I found. It's like whenever you concentrating on the goal, you don't get it because it creates attachment. And the same as we, for example, we practice vipassana or shamatha. Yeah, so like we want to calm our mind, we want to balance our mind. But if we concentrate on balancing our mind, we just grasp for new thoughts, we create new thoughts. So that's what we would do. We don't pay attention. But even if we decide not to pay attention to our thoughts, it does work. Because it's like, yeah, when you have this proverb, yeah, don't think about white monkey or whatever. What are you going to do? You are going to think about it, So then you're using skillful means. You are concentrating on something else. One pointedly, yeah? You're concentrating on a rock, or you're concentrating on visualization or on mantra recitation. So in this way, your goal not to think or not to grasp on your karmic tendencies is accomplished. So you kind of always go around. And here, the same thing, if you want to free yourself from happiness, you concentrate on bringing happiness to others. And it is also skillful mean, because whenever you concentrate on others, then what happens, your ego dissolves. And it's actually very simple, like your ego dissolves when you don't think about your happiness. But then you accomplish your own happiness, it's like by practicing we accomplish twofold purpose, yeah, for ourselves and others. So the bodhisattva path is a skillful means to bring ourselves to the essence of happiness. But it does not mean that we are just using others. Like, okay, I just will accomplish means, like I will help others be happy. It's just not because I don't wish them to be happy. I just want to use them, in order to get rid of our ego. No, this should be sincere. That's how it works. We sincerely wish happiness for others, and only then your ego dissolves. And it also makes sense because the mind of all beings is inseparable. It is like it is inseparable. It is one, or even it's beyond like being one or non-one. So there is no things that separate. It's only our ego or our wrong perception. That's what separates minds of beings. And what's happening when we have love, it unites mind. And that's the main teachings of Garchen Rinpoche, bodhicitta, how to unite mind, how to recognize this unity of mind through practicing of love and compassion. And here, what's happening? Practicing bodhicitta, using all the skillful means which are described in teachings, like 6 parameters, yeah, like cultivating bodhicitta at the beginning of practice, dedicating practice at the end, practicing 6 parameters, cultivating 4 immeasurables, So these things also we practice them on this level of duality when we have this ego, when we still have wrong kind of perception. Because love is rooted in the nature of our mind, we kind of holding on it. It's like holding on a rope, which holding on it, we can go through all these illusory appearances, all this like karmic confusion, like as long as we have this dualistic perception, it's very hard to have, we can have different levels of clarity, of course, and different levels of understanding, but still there is still as long as there is dualistic perception, there is still this confusion existing, this confusion of non-recognition, and so as long as dualistic perception exists, as long as we're bound to this dualistic perception, there is always danger that we will get wrapped again into karmic patterns. So, and even when we practice shamatha, our mind calms down. Even when our mind is peaceful and we are able to be present, like we're able to observe our mind, where we have strong awareness. Like if there is like shamatha, if in practice shamatha still there is notion of duality, there is still danger that we can come back to samsara. So that's why we speak about experience of non-duality and bodhicitta practice, or like bodhisattva way of life, like what we're reading about. It's all about different methods of practicing of bodhicitta. This is like a rope holding on which we can move in the right direction, no matter what happens outside, no matter what's happening in our mind, what karmic situation are arising. Like if we have karmic seeds, the karma will continue arising. It's not that we stop karma arising immediately. Like if we have karmic seed of sickness, if it's already started to rise, it will bloom, it will manifest. But here it's about what we are doing while we're experiencing this sickness or this suffering. We are holding on this rope of bodhicitta until we pass, until we pass this period of suffering. No matter what happens, we holding on this rope of bodhicitta, we do not create new karmic seeds, similar karmic seeds. Okay, and so then in this way, this rope of bodhicitta goes beyond our karmic tendencies. So holding on it, we actually can come out of this dualistic perception. We don't know when. It can happen like any moment. So we cannot kind of predict, we cannot plan that. That's a thing. We cannot plan when we experience a state of Mahamudra. So we just have to hold on this rope of bodhicitta until this happens. And what is interesting, when we experience this boundless feeling of love and compassion, like which also accompanied by experience of presence, being present, not grasping for what was yesterday, not grasping for what might happen tomorrow. So this bodhicitta, which goes beyond dualistic perception. So this is a state of mind which is capable overturn all kind of obstacles. So why do we practice Yidam yoga? Why do we visualize yourself as Yidam? Why it is important to experience Yidam's pride, when we feel ourselves as a Yidam? Because, as Garchen Rinpoche says, the life force of Yidam is bodhicitta. So when you become Yidam, you have this bodhicitta, and this bodhicitta is beyond your karmic tendencies. It's deeper. Like karmic tendencies arise, like let's say, like I can give like a very primitive explanation. Okay, so we have kind of this sky-like nature of mind, which is not bound, by anything, and so whatever is arising, whatever experience we have, it is like sky-like. Love is sky-like, like without like being boundless, clarity, happiness, like like bliss. So it's boundless. But then when whatever is arising, and so then whatever is arising in this state of mind gives us boundless pleasure. So every thought, every like concept, if we recognize it, if we recognize where does it come from, we experience boundless pleasure, boundless bliss. So then that's why Gershon Rinpoche is like constantly in bliss, So then, if there is no recognition, where does it come from? So this absence of recognition is a base for dualistic perception. It's base for ego arising and dualistic perception, and then karma. So there are two different. So it's more artificial level where karma is arising. But if we're able to reach that bodhicitta level, absolute bodhicitta, because it's boundless, it's kind of transverse this artificial level of karma. So that's why we practice Guru Yoga. So praying to Guru, practicing Guru Yoga helps us to connect to this blessing, or like awaken this blessing of the lineage, powerful blessing. And that's what helps us to experience the natural mind, experience this bodhicitta. And if we act out of this state, our actions become very powerful. So if we act out of state of yidam, so we accumulate many mantras, we do the yidam practice again and again and again and again to habituate ourselves to this state of yidam. So sometimes, like being yidam, we still have kind of dualistic view, but this is pure view. We perceive everything as a mandala. Everything is arising, perceived as a um, awareness of yidam, or like fire that cuts through all this dualistic perception. So if we act out of this state, not if we not pretend being yidam, if we become yidam and we act in our daily life out of this state, our actions become very powerful. And that's a thing. That's what Garinpoche doing. Like he is acting out of this state. Like he's like simple man. Yeah, if you look at him, he's just like turning his prayer wheel. He gives teaching. He gives the same teachings and as all other teachers. The same words. The same words as I'm telling you, but they're charged with his boundless bodhicitta. That's why his teachings have such effect on beings. That's why they place beings irreversibly on a Dharma path. That's why we hold tight on the Guru, on beings like Garchen Rinpoche, because that's the experience. And what is actually real bodhicitta? Bodhicitta, it's not only love, it contains awareness, skillful means. That's what bodhicitta. And Gorchen Rinpoche, he is the example of, like, his mind is pure love, boundless love, like a sun. Wherever he looks, that's his love follows, like doesn't matter what kind of being are you or what kind of karma you have. Even if you beat up yourself, for being imperfect being, it's because he loves you, not because he doesn't care about your negative actions, or I don't talk about your negative, but like anybody's negative actions, but because his bodhicitta goes beyond this dualistic conditions that create karma, that create negative karma and negative actions. He looks beyond that and he sees you as like from that level. You like he looks at you not at your like artificial level where karma is created, but as you are, and where at that level where you are like as you are, you're inseparable from Garchen Rinpoche, for example. And when he basically looking at his own mind when he looks at you, and that goes both ways. When you look at him, you look at your own mind in his pure perception. Gorshin Rinpoche is manifestation of your mind. We can like build theories on it. We can talk about this, but you are able to feel devotion to him only because he is inseparable from you. If he would be separate from you, from your mind, you wouldn't be able to awaken this love, this devotion through listening to his teachings. Then you wouldn't be able to receive empowerments. And what is empowerment? It's like awakening the yidam in your mind, and essence of Idam is bodhicitta. So basically, awakening different aspects of bodhicitta. And Gorchen Rinpoche, when you look at him, or you look at Dalai Lama, or like other Buddha, they are your mind. It's like manifestation of your pure mind, but because you're so wrapped in this karmic perception, you're so wrapped in a wrong perception, that's your Buddha nature manifest and like pats your, on the shoulder. Hello, I'm here. You know, I'm your Buddha nature is here always, and it wouldn't be possible to use all the skillful means which are manifestation of Buddha nature if Buddha nature would not kind of transverse, is it right word? Like through dualistic perception. Whatever concept is arising, whatever perception is arising, the seed of Buddha nature is there. And that's why on yogi path, we're using whatever is arising, even obstacles, even our negative thoughts. So difference between yogi path and samsaric path is that yogi looks at their like not reacting, or like even if reacting, not building, yogis is not building the next chain of, reaction and thoughts, but is looking at whatever is arising and find the seed of Buddha nature there. Not by thinking, like, I'm looking, but just by looking, but not by grasping. It's all about grasping, And so basically, all teachings, all methods is about bodhicitta. Like whatever practices we're doing on Mahayana path, like on Vajrayana path. So whatever we are doing, it is all different methods of practicing bodhicitta, which dissolves your ego and brings you to the essence. Okay, so, and it's important to understand the Buddhas are here. The Buddha, it's like Garchen Rinpoche, like, I remember first time I heard like Garchen Rinpoche said, enlightenment is on the palm of your hand. And like, how is it? Where is it? It is here because it comes together with all your perception, with every thought, with every emotion, with every touch, whatever like six sense, whatever like senses you have, whatever you perceive through your body, the essence or like seed of enlightenment is there. And it's like it does not ripen or doesn't open up because we don't stay there. We run to grasp for something else. We run to kind of to prove our ego. We fight, or like say, like we, like ego deceives us, but ego also comes from our mind. Like, and this non-recognition, if we just turn it around, so it just changes entire picture. So that's why it is possible when we practice Yidam yoga, it is possible to see everything as a mandala of Yidam. Not because we suddenly start to visualize like, form of mandala around, like the mandala as we see it on the tankas. The mandala does not necessarily appear how we see in a tankas. Tanka is just representation of qualities of nature of mind. The real mandala has two aspects: its essence and what is surrounding this essence. And there are like different levels of explanation. So, but essence basically it is the nature of mind, and what is surrounding it's like recognition of the nature of mind. Or like essence is a skillful means, like, or bodhicitta, and what is surrounding, what is historical, is the skillful means which we apply to give rise to bodhicitta. So, and again, we call bodhicitta enlightened mind because it's direct method to get there, you know. And like all these 6 parameters, which would like generosity and so forth, you know, they are help skillful means or helpful means to keep continuing, you know, hold on bodhicitta until it becomes natural. And it is good like every day to do at least one actions of 6 parameters. You know, you can plan it in the morning and it might take you only like few seconds to do each of them, like generosity. Generosity, it's not only giving $5 to person on the street. It's the generosity of dharma, of generosity of calm mind, generosity of calming somebody, you know, of like being for someone, generosity of kind word, you know, generosity when you recognize your negative emotion and you do not follow it. You do not create this like ripple, you know, like of negative emotions around. This is generosity. Discipline also, recognizing what's going on in your mind or making decision like, okay, this is negative emotion is arising, like I'm not going to act on it right now, you know, next 5 minutes at least, you know. And this is practice of generosity. And like it's actually you can turn it into game, you know, like it's like that's what I like in retreat I did all like so many of these experiments, you know, like, and sometimes I would write down like very shortly, you know, like just to kind of just kind of to see my progress. And like you can turn it's into interesting game, you know, like today like I was able to hold not release my negative emotion for 1 second or for 1 minute. And tomorrow, like I'm going to look at the watch, you know, like, and like, okay, like wait until 2 minutes pass, you know, like, and like no matter what's going on in my mind, I'm just not going to react, you know, and that's really becomes like when you look at your progress, and it can be like something very simple, you know, like or like discipline or concentration. Okay, I'm going to like do in my break time, you know, when I'm at the job, you know, like my lunch time, I'm going to spend like 1 minute counting my breath. 1 minute, you know, this it seems that it's not a big deal, you know, it's like might not give you result right away, but you're habituating to practicing bodhicitta in your daily life. They're the most important, even if it's not perfect, you are training in habituating that it is present in your life. Okay, friends. Okay, so I have 4 minutes. If you have any questions.
Thank you, Zhuravka. I'll break the ice a little bit. I just wanted to say that thank you. Um, you know, I think for all of us here, the important thing is just to give credence to that spark of sincere faith that you have, because that faith actually is you in touch with your true nature. I can only speak as someone whose mind is just overwhelmed by whatever distractions. And just briefly to share, the first Yamataka I did with Gar Rinpoche, I think it went the entire week, the entire 9 days. I didn't have one single moment of clarity. And I didn't even have the intellectual thought that, you know, this is all right, that somehow I'm here for the right reason. In fact, the reasons were like some sort of urge, but just, you know, not recognized. And I was just a total mess. I can't tell you, someone on the way there, someone stole my cushion. And if you're as inflexible as I am, you have to have just the right construction of cushion. So I was in agony, you know, just in agony. And to give you the kind of things that build faith. So I was sitting for no hierarchical reason, just happened to be like three steps, 3 mats down from Gar Rinpoche. And you know, they bring him a little pitcher of milk for his tea, and they're keeping him kind of lubricated that way, you know. But the rest of us are just there. And I was sitting next to the man who sponsored Garwin Pache when he got out of the prison camp. You know, a 76-year-old man, Tibetan, doing his first retreat. He's sitting there just fine, and I'm a basket cake. I'm having hallucinations of pain and especially this hallucination of milk, waterfalls of milk coming down and trying to give me some soothing. You know, I'm sitting there.
Mhm.
I'm just terrible. And in the midst of this, Gar Rinpoche passes down his pitcher of milk to me. And so I knew that he knew what
Mhm.
I was experiencing. And it's one thing, you know, when you have some wonderful thought of generosity or something, you say, oh, the Lama knows I'm really being good, Frank, you know. But then you have some horrible thought and you realize, damn, he probably knows that too.
Mhm.
Then you start to experience that limitless love. It allows you to love yourself despite it all.
Mhm.
I'm sorry, but I mean, I may have been on 20 of these things, but that first one, you know, they have all the windows covered so you can focus your mind. And at the end of the 9 days, the last morning, they open up the windows. And here was this spectacular sunrise in Arizona. I mean, unbelievable. Just as we were starting to do the refuge and bodhicitta prayer. And you know, you can be a total mess. You can go through 9 days and say, when I got out of here, I am never coming back. And yet that moment of clarity and that moment is, Lama said, sincerity, you know, sincere love of others instead of some self-satisfying, gratifying kind of lie that we all do socially, you know, it makes it all worth it. So I just wanted to say that it's more than my belief. Everyone here who hears any of this with any kind of conviction, it doesn't make any difference how small it is. That's the basis on which, and again, it's like, you know, the Mammoth Cave, completely dark, but one match destroys the darkness. The darkness is absolutely gone. There's more room for brightness, of course, but it's difference in kind. And so that aspiration that you have is it. And you must never let it go because truly the whole damn world depends on it. Okay, sorry. Enough. Enough.
I just wanted to share one thing. Sometimes it's like really like there is need in a big courage to experience of bodhicitta. Sometimes it's like there is very strange kind of notion or like ego does not let to experience bodhicitta. It's like there is fear, like if I get rid of ego or like let go ego, I'm losing like balance or it's like ego is very sly. So basically it's like it's very helpful to tell ourselves, okay, for the next 2 minutes I will experience bodhicitta, and then may ego come back after that, but let ourselves to experience like to let it go, not to worry about anything. Like for next 2 minutes, I'm not going to worry about what's going to be tomorrow. I'm not going to think about what happened yesterday. So this also needs like lots of courage. That's why Buddha is called victorious one. You need courage to let go of ego. Because fear, it is actually first thing, first emotion is fear,
Mm,
which appears after non-recognition.
mm.
And it is going to be last emotion we have to get rid of. Okay, thank you. We have a break, yeah?
Yeah, yeah. All right, little break.